Hey everybody, we are live, I guess so. Anyway, I'm hoping. It's been another technical day, which is pretty funny, but not terrible. It was really good. We actually got I got a lot done. We had our new episode of Game Night Date Night come out, first one since 2021. We had been threatening to do it before the pandemic. We wanted to do Game Night Date Night, but it was just another layer of stuff that we weren't prepared to do. So during the pandemic, we had to do that because we didn't have to, but we did it because we couldn't film all the time with others. And we had episodes piled up, and we did some remote kind of episodes that were okay. But did I cut? I don't know. I cut, but you didn't see me. There you go. Anyway, boy, that's weird. Did I cut back? Maybe I must have. Anyway, let me get the other camera angle so when I do start painting. But yeah, we got the show going live. We have been filming a few to keep ahead of the schedule. So it's going to be on Tuesdays, and Game Night will still be on Thursdays, and Game Night Date Night Tuesdays. But then we also have Jamie's show, the solo mode, which is once a month near the end of the month. Hopefully, I got to let her know that we have a space for her so that she can meet that deadline. And then Derek has a show which debuts next week, theoretically, with Candace called T-Forge, and I'll let them explain that to you. It's kind of fun, but that's coming next week. So we'll be on again for Game Night Date Night 2 weeks from now, and we'll also have episodes filmed and stored in case we have one of the other episodes from the other shows do not go live. But we're going to try to keep that schedule. That was part of, and Nikki's actually editing that show, which is pretty exciting. We couldn't give Derek more stuff to do, and that's fine. Nikki wanted to learn how to do it, and she did a really great job. The other episode that we really wanted to go live with first is an SDJ nominee, and we want to time that a little bit later. We start every season with something that's not an SDJ. This week we might. I don't think we're going to do it. We are filming the discussion video soon, since everybody's got to be away a couple of weeks into the month. And so we're excited because we thought nobody was going to be able to make it. But it looks like we might have 6 or 7 folks, which will be fantastic. And we're eager to see how that all turns out. It's also going to include the children's videos discussion too, the children's games discussions as well, because those are now all announced on the same day, the winners. That'll all be on the 21st of July, which is a little later than last year. It's like almost a week later. But we're eager to see how that goes. It sounds like the music might be really loud. I don't know. Or that tab could be up. You let me know if it's too loud. But yeah, we're excited about it. It was something Nikki really wanted to do that. She also wants to do and maybe we'll do it, stuff from the vault, essentially games that you can't get, which easily anyway, which is always a challenge for me. I mean, our show in itself, we are struggling to actually make sure we play games that are either available or soon to be available, because that is a frustration for the viewers. I totally understand why. It's a frustration for me, because every time I used to actually link to the games available either on the BGG store, which we used to have, we don't have anymore. That was with a distribution partner, or on Amazon. We stopped doing that because people were, it's linking to it, and we would make money from those links, so we stopped doing that. And that was just for clarity, because it is a situation, I mean, a lot of shows do that. They, have you buy the stuff through and get credits for it. But anyway, so now I still see that the games aren't available, and it's frustrating to me, because that was my biggest. I'd go to link the game unavailable, and we'd only shot it not too long before. So, because we're number one, we are not. We're not the let's get to the game out right away people. Sometimes we do new games that we're excited to show you, but often we're just, part of the issue is we don't get to the brand new games immediately because we don't necessarily have access to them. And secondly, the publishers don't, a lot of the stuff we get is released at that we get to play are released at a convention. Hey, I'll dance by myself. Hey, Penelope Gaming France, maybe? Awesome. Yeah, so thanks for joining us here. I'm getting ready to paint some miniatures. We're just talking about the new show for Game Night, Date Night. Hey, thanks for the follow. Sounds terrible. I wonder what's up. I wonder if it sounds terrible to you all. I am using the software, and it could be having it. Got several things happening on that PC. But thank you so much for that follow. Yeah, so the new, with the new show, with the shows trying to feature games that are available, it makes it a little bit challenging. We've done a few many. I mean, we just did for the end of season 11. We did Thunder Road, Vendetta, Maximum Chrome. Maximum Chrome is hard to get. It is a hey, thanks for the follow, Veranzen. You'll be able to buy the base game, and I think it is available. But like we ended up playing, because we let Mike Murphy decide, since he was going to do the teach, what he wanted to do, and they have worked with restoration hardware. I don't think they're doing. Hey, thanks so much, Metoy976. Wow, it's really sounding terrible on this end. I think it does sound bad to you guys too. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes it's perfectly fine. Sometimes it's not. Hey, Juliet, how you doing? Thanks for joining us from France. Awesome. Our latest episode is a French designers, Maxime Romberg and Theo Riviere. That was the Dracula versus Van Helsing, which we really love that game. Happily, it is going to be coming out in the United States soon. We actually backed the Kickstarter for that because we'd played the game on the show and loved it, and we had to borrow that game from the BGG library and needed to return it. So hopefully we'll get our own copy back soon, but it was awesome. Vive la BGG, awesome, thank you so much. Hey, oh my gosh, another one. Thanks for the follow. And thanks for rating us, everybody. Let me cut to what we're gonna paint here. I'm gonna be doing Luke Cage, which I never saw that show. I primed both of these at different times, and it shows. Hey, another one. Thanks so much, McFluffy. Lots of F's in that Fluffy, so it's super fluffy. Fantastic. Well, we are definitely excited. This week is going to be a busy one. We have in the United States, it's the 4th of July. A big celebration here in the U.S., and hopefully that'll be fun. And it's going to be blazing hot. I know it was supposed to start tomorrow here in Southern California, being warm, but it's really starting today. I mean, it's been warm for over a week, but I think we got some real hot stuff coming here. I need to paint Luke's shirt yellow. I mean, I don't need to do anything, but I'm going to paint Luke's shirt yellow because that is the color. I was threatening to airbrush this the other day, and I decided not to. I decided to to do the undercoat. I decided to try to do it. He's got something going on his head there. Maybe I'll paint a little bit of white on there. Or it could be a scar. He is a superhero. And I decided to let it go just to see how it would look. I have been trying to duplicate minis, doing this 2 at a time to see how decent I can do at kind of replicating it. All of them, I believe, if not most of them, were primed at different times. This one looks pretty good. I don't usually do that well. I've always been I mean, this is 2 different techniques. One of these is dry brushed and one of these is done with the standard system that I've been doing here, which is painting over the zenithal. And so I did the dry brushed undercoating and then did the zenithal. And then this is Jessica Jones. Boy, I cannot ever remember that. And she turned out pretty good. It is also different, her shirt. You can see this is a little bit more grainy in the airbrushing, and that's probably because I didn't have it thinned properly. I was using 2 different airbrushes. I have many airbrushes, and I lose track of which one I'm using. But I love the I love using the airbrush for the undercoating. It's fantastic. The one thing I don't do, which I'm planning on doing, is doing the varnish with airbrush. I have not done that before. So I always use, when I paint, generally about a 3-to-2 of mix of matte, ultra matte, and matte. But I watched a video yesterday from Vincent Venturella, who I love watching his stuff. He really does a great job. But I think he was mixing ultra matte and satin 3-to-1. So I think I'm going to try that. I mean, I have satin varnish that I barely use because it's just a little too shiny for me. I like the AK Interactive stuff. I just don't. They're kind of a strange company. But I'm still using them. And I bought those years ago and they last forever. I'm a little nervous, so I will. Maybe we can see it here. Actually, this isn't so bad. But I was almost buying another bottle of one of their varnishes a while back, and it was yellowed. And I was nervous about it. And I don't know if it was just the bottle or maybe, it could be the mix of the plastic. Plastic sometimes yellow depending on how they're manufactured. Now, I believe these are all, it doesn't say on here what type of bottle it is, but it should be okay. It should be stable. But that is an issue for sure. So I'm going to use yellow. I do have some of I'm nervous about using them just because I don't know the colors. I have the speed paints. I've got these are the 4 yellows I have from, I mean, this actually kind of looks like, it's a little flatter than that, maybe this one. I do have all the yellows from, I believe, there might be another yellow actually now I think about it. They did not have enough yellows in the initial one. These 3 are from the last batch, which were like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, probably almost 2 years ago. They're all, I really like them all. But I do have many, many more yellows in the speed paints. And I don't know exactly what's what, but I guess it's many, many. I have 4. I have exactly the same. So I have 4 different ones. Wait, that's Sand Golem. I guess it is kind of a yellow, isn't it? So there you go. But boy, it sure doesn't look like it. These colors look very red. Anyway, it says yellowish brown and orangish yellow. So orange yellow, this maybe is closer to the Iandin. I don't know. I'm eager to try more of these speed paints. I mostly got them all recently. The one that really triggered me was Fire Giant Orange. I used it on these minis. And I really liked it. Now, this red I feel is this orange, excuse me, is I think sort of like this orange maybe. I need to try it. The colors sometimes have analogs between the different manufacturers. But I didn't, so I painted this when I was visiting in Germany last year, and nobody had orange. And we tried to buy some, and nobody, in the contrast paints or the speed paints at the stores. And they have some great stores. We were in Bonn. But we went to a paint day with our friends, and a lady loaned me her Fire Giant Orange from the first run of the paints, and I loved it. I actually couldn't find the, we found them later in box sets, like the sets that they have, and we thought about it. I thought about it for a bit, and I thought I'll just wait till I get home. But the funny thing was, once I got home, because I used a couple other colors as well, I used some of the Vallejo in the new game color, Express colors. And I couldn't find that color, and I didn't realize they were new colors. And so I had to wait, and those are finally available, but I actually kind of just made my own mix because I was using it for these guns. Did I put it back? I did. So I was using it. It was like a spaceship gray or something like that. And I really like it. I mean, it's got like a blue quality to it. I need to change glasses. Has a blue quality that I really like. And I thought about it for a while, and I just thought, well, let me just do this because they're very slow to get here. We just don't have, and we don't have a lot of stores locally. Now, I was trying to buy them online and couldn't find them. And then when I found out they were a new batch of stuff, I thought about it for a while, like, what should I do? And as I said, this is a yellow, and it's listed as an Iandin yellow. The interesting thing about this one is if you use the contrast medium, which I put away. This is really, I'm getting low on it. This lessens the intensity. It still keeps it the same, flowing the same. It's not like thinning with water, but it reduces the intensity of the color, and it actually goes to be quite yellow once you thin it down. So this was my only yellow for the longest time, and I discovered, you know, many things about these colors and using them, how flexible they were, because like you'll see here, I'm going to do Luke Cage in a bit, his skin, and I use the same skin tone for almost every humanoid. Stop the intruder. I use Gilliman flesh, which sadly I left open on after I painted with it. It's fine, but like I was not open, but I had pushed the tops down, but I didn't do a good job on that one, and so I hope it's not too messed up. I mean, because I go through this slowly, but I was very disappointed with their flesh tone initially, and I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't putting enough of the contrast medium in it to get it light enough for the different flesh. So this flesh here, let me find a decent one. This is okay. This flesh here is the same as this flesh, and now, you know, those are under different undercoats, as this. These are all the same flesh tone with different levels of contrast medium in them. Let's look at Shuri. Shuri turned out really awesome. She's exactly the same. This is all the same skin tone, and it really is amazing. It's a very flexible paint and does a really good job covering. I actually painted this one, same color, and I like it. It looks really, really great. And again, this was kind of a dark undercoat, but the flesh looks great. I also kind of like painted this wetter. That's the biggest challenge I think that you have to do with contrast paints, is they just have to go on wet. So now I actually thinned that one down quite a bit and then put it on wet and built it up, I think, with 2 coats on this one here. What is his name? It's Iron something, I think. Let me look. And I don't know them all. It's the worst part about it all. Too many characters. J. Nope. Iron Fist. Is that it? Sure is. I don't know Iron Fist. But it's pretty cool. So I'm over here looking at images. I saved all the images from the Kickstarters to use as reference, since I don't know the miniature. I mean, I really don't. I never watched any of the Marvel shows on Netflix, and I'm not a big TV watcher. I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, Deborah's on her show, and she's back on being on Daredevil, and I will watch it eventually, but I just don't want to watch a lot of television shows. And I don't necessarily think I'm alone in that, but we do watch some. I actually like smaller doses of TV shows because, as Nikki says, I'm too antsy. I got too much I want to do. Let's just try this one here. I've never used it. Maize yellow, which is corn here. It's also known as corn. But yeah, I generally watch things that are a little bit shorter so that I have a little bit of, you know, I can't sit still. I have things I want to do all the time, or need to do. It's a combination. And so I generally will be too antsy to sit for too long. It depends. We sat and watched a couple movies the other night, which was great. One thing I will be doing with this is, I have the speed paint medium. I will thin this down just like I do with the other paint, because I don't want it to be too intense. The shading of the undercoat will be enough that I don't need to, what is his collar? Oh, his collar's yellow. I noticed on this one, I actually caught it, I didn't even see it at first, but her collar's red, I believe, or brown, but I just did it a red. And her eyes are intense. I worked on those and just did the best I could. Couldn't get it 100%. So let's see how this is. It looks like it would be a good color for that. You can't see that. I don't have the example to show here on the stream. but I do have them all saved, which is great. Do you hand paint or use an airbrush? I use both, sweetie. 2625. I airbrush. So here's the deal. I mostly paint these minis by hand. I will do the undercoat with the airbrush, and then I'll paint these with by hand. Sometimes though, I have some examples. It's kind of necessary to do some airbrushing, and it's not always necessary. I'll show you a couple different things here. So on Hella, I airbrushed the cape to get it like a lighter color, a dustier color, you know, because ultimately, if I really want these to be right, they should have dust on them and stuff like that. They're not like in a perfect environment. But this one was done entirely by hand except for that, and of course the undercoat. But I did a little bit of spray on the ground for the lighting effect. This is another one that I did. Now this is one I did entirely by hand. Well, not entirely. Again, I undercoated it with the Zenithal highlight. But boy, it's dusty. These need to be put away. I keep pulling them out, but they're collecting dust, and I'm kind of nervous, right? Because I do varnish them, but they just don't seem to. I don't know. They seem to have some stickiness to them. This is another one that I painted. So I did the ground, you know, some object source lightings where it's like supposedly his head's glowing, so the ground has a bit of glow to it. I did some on the shoulders and stuff like that. So that was mostly airbrushed. I did these pieces here, the ones right up front, by hand, because I didn't want to, so I was doing it and carefully placing it so I didn't destroy the paint job. I did it at the final act, right? And then this one here was a recent one I did that's part of the Moreland or something, that's part of the Spider-Geddon set. And I did a lot more airbrushing on this one. I airbrushed on his cape. I airbrushed the flames, but I hand painted everything else. I even did the little, which is like, I'm pretty happy with myself on these eyes because I'm not very good at this type of OSL buildup, right? You have to layer it on. Well, you don't have to. You can do all kinds of tricks. You can airbrush it, but I did that by hand, and I was very happy with the end result on that. So yeah, it's a bit of both. Why is no one watching? Oh, don't say that, Pikachu. Nobody's chatting on YouTube, I think, but maybe nobody's watching. It's how it goes. I don't even know how. Oh, it says 6 are watching. It says 6 is not nobody. But let me get back to the miniature I'm painting. So yeah, it's worth it to invest in an airbrush, particularly I feel for undercoating. I've always, well, not always, I've often undercoated before I started using speed paints. Speed paints, so here's an example. I'm sorry, going back in time. This is the first thing I painted with the speed paints. And it's very organic, has a lot of texture to its surface. I did do like a wet blendy kind of thing here. Very simple to do with these. Well, sort of simple. I did it with the tabard here and the sword. But this was primed just this gray color, essentially. The actual color is this one. The undercoating is completely this, not white. And it looks great. It doesn't always work 100%. When it's not organic. And you know, you can see here, I had some issues like trying to get this smooth, and this is all by hand. But totally works fine, looks good, particularly with this type of surface. But I've also, oh wow, I'm gonna try to bend that. It's very fragile. But I've also painted with the gray Zenithal undercoat, which I did not call it Zenithal back then, for shading purposes, to determine where the lighting was coming from things. This is another one that was painted, airbrushed, and then the Zenithal undercoat, and then I handed the bird, and it looks cool. It turned out really nice. This was like 2 tones of brown, and then I dry brushed, I think a light color, maybe an ivory color, and then put more color over it to give it the variety on the surface. Hey, Bromers, who is it? Nick. Hope you guys are doing well. I miss you. They've been gone now for 3 weeks almost. and it's terrible. I mean, I never got to see them that much, but I had the knowledge that they were nearby, and now they're not. I saw their new studio in some of the images of the stuff we've shot recently, and it's great. I'm happy for them though. And it's close to their family. That's where they are from, but boy, I miss them. It's weird. You know, we would see Nick maybe once or twice a month, maybe Mike, but it just didn't, you know, they needed to be up there. It's better too for them ultimately. Hey, thanks for the follow, Flickaya. So all this stuff is happening on Twitch, folks that are on YouTube. Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily say, are any of these the newest? So this is the newest version of the speed paint. This one here that I'm using. This is this one right here. I have only ever used the first version in this color on this Mini, and I liked it. I thought it was great. I did not have any reactivation issues. I wasn't, you know, there's blending techniques that you can do with that, and I think that that's actually kind of a loss that they got rid of it. But these have been great. I have barely used them though, to be completely honest. I've used them a few times. Let me think of what I used it on. I don't remember right now. I mean, I've definitely, like here and there, I've tried the colors. I got a gift certificate for Christmas that I had still not used, and so I ended up just buying the whole set of the Army Painter speed paints. And the bits that I have used, they have a lot of great colors, have been pretty great. I've used the metallics a few times. They're awesome. You see what else is there. But yeah, they're nice. I don't know that all the colors are great. I mean, because not all the speed paints or contrast paints are great. They're mostly great, and I think part of it just comes down to usage, right? Like how you use them, because people did not like the ultramarine color that came out. Ultramarines probably was the actual name of it. I never bought it, but you know, I actually want to buy it now because other colors that people don't like, I happen to like a lot. So I think I'm just maybe a little different in my usage. So let's get some, I usually go to the, it's funny that I'm eager to paint this yellow. I usually paint the face first, face and the skin, the hands. But today, I've done this a couple of times recently. I think I did it on, well, there wasn't a lot of flesh tone on Iron Fist. But let's get started. Oh wait, you know what? Let's put it in the base. Going well up here, but yeah, I miss you. Miss being neighbors, it's true. You guys are awesome. Let me stop that. But yeah, you can see it's giving me shading, right? I may want to bump it up another layer of opacity by putting another coat of it on. But you know, these speed paints and contrast paints, wow, again, this is speed paint, so I'm not used to using it. They tend to, wow, they go on kind of watery. It's nice. These are maybe a little thinner than the contrast paints. Is that a chunk in there? Sure is. I don't know what that would be from. Could be dust. I was cleaning up in here before I got started, and I certainly could have made a mess. I cleaned the silicone mat that I use underneath me here. I really am sad that they don't sell these anymore. These are from Citadel. I bought it from the store. We used to have a games, what do they call it? The Warhammer store, which was newish, but the pandemic, I think, wiped them out. They didn't have open store for a long time, and I had gone by there to buy things. This is actually, I think I actually bought this. Ooh, I just got on his skin. I think I bought this when they were open inside. I could walk inside before, but during the pandemic, you could only walk in just in the front vestibule. Essentially, they made a little U of tables, and you had to ask him for things, which, you know, it's tough when you're well, I mean, for me anyway, many people probably are much more focused, but a lot of my purchases were based on like, what do they got, you know, and I'd go look around. Boy, it looks like another, oh no, you know what, that's paint. Don't peel that off. And I don't think they survived that. You know what I mean? It was not being able to go in and paint, or I never did that. I never had the time. But for younger people, or just folks that want to just paint and play, you know, the ability to play in the store is awesome. We went to the store in Thousand Oaks, which is a little further away from us, recently to get some. We were out there, and so I wanted to pick up some paint from them. And they were very busy and very excited crowd, and they were playing a lot of games. And they really burned through their product. I was asking for a specific thing. He's like, I don't think you're going to find it. And I'm like, oh, I have it right here. But I bought this handle there as well. I was like, I can't go into a hobby store and not buy something. But I was really looking for the Lamian medium, I think is what it was I wanted. Is that right? Lamian medium. Which is a glossier coat, I think. I think that's why I bought it. Hey, it's out of focus. You know what? This really shouldn't be there. It generally focuses on that. Hey, T-Cat2? Hope you're doing well. We are definitely celebrating a bit. We had finally got back to, we threatened to do this last year. I did a podcast with Candace and said that we'd be bringing back the game night, date night soon. And just too many things. And it's really comes down to just busy schedules. We have so much travel that when we are here, we tend to, wow, I really like this color. It's a good one. It may be just enough. Now I'm going to do this one that's going to be darker, and I have like I had to scratch a mold line. I'm not great about scraping. I did on the stream the other day. I was scraping some mold lines off of some miniatures, and when I build miniatures, I am much better. These come assembled, and so my brain just does not do the. I don't know if it's laziness or whatever, but I don't see the lines. Once they're primed, oh boy, I see the lines. And so I patched that up and did it as best a job as I can to match the gray. And I mean, I've done pretty great jobs matching it. I need to be a little bit more particular about it, but something's buzzing. I think Nikki's back home. So we kind of wanted to stream today for game night because we were bringing back date night, but Nikki had stuff she had to do this morning. So here's what we're doing. But I've been wanting to paint, and we have a schedule. Derek is going to be away at a convention, I believe, or something like that, at the middle of the month, and we wanted to make sure that it did not. Boy, this is kind of lumpy there. I tried to do a good job of scraping that up, but I don't think I did that great of a job. We definitely have the schedule set properly for that. We won't stream Thursday. We are going to spend some time with the family and maybe some friends. We have some folks who do live nearby, and we haven't seen that much since the pandemic happened. We went to dinner or went to lunch with them, and then they paid, and they're like, well, you get it the next time. And we have never gotten back together again because all of us were paranoid for the longest time. And then just once we got back to doing stuff, we were busier than we were before the pandemic. So yeah, you can see it's a different intensity for sure with the black showing through, but it's cool. It's funny, I tend to cheat. I'm not, as far as the undercoating, I want, like the faces. And the funny thing is, like all these characters are leaning forward. So you kind of, if you want the face to stick out, you sort of have to cheat with the undercoating. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna let that dry though. So yeah, that shoulder, it looks okay. So usually, I feel once you put the paint over it, the contrast paint or the speed paint. This is my first time, of course, with the speed paint doing this with this much of a paint job underneath, it kind of gets lost in the overcoat. I think Nikki might be coming in here. And so, you know, you don't really notice it. I make corrections and don't sweat it because I don't know. People have always, you know, that was one of the complaints about contrast paints, is that you kind of messed up the, you had one go at it, essentially. I mean, you can always strip it and stuff like that, but it was, you know, it's hard to like repair it, but I don't think it's that bad. I've painted the gray. I've actually used this specific gray, and I probably should have used, I think I might have used this one on here. Maybe it's a little, this one seems to be warmer, a warmer gray than what I'm getting with the black and then the white, straight white on. So the black I'm using is this one, coal black, and then I use this bold titanium white from Pro Acryl. And I really like their paints. I don't have a ton of them. I have all of their transparent paints because that was what I used for yellow a lot of the time. Let's see if I have it right here. Nope, that's a gold. But I use the yellow a lot as a replacement for having a vivid yellow from Games Workshop, Citadel. It's funny, all these companies, so Citadel is their paint, is it like their hobby tools and stuff range, I believe. And so that's Citadel paints, but they're Games Workshop, and then this Monument Hobbies, and then Pro Acryl is their paint line. So it only confuses things with all these different names. Because I say Monument all the time, but that's not exactly correct. That looks pretty cool. Is it 4 weeks till Gen Con? Oh my gosh. Let me think. Not quite, right? Oh no, it is. That's right, because the fourth day, Nikki's birthday's on the 4th, and so it's the last day of the con. So yeah, goodness gracious. So we only have a little over 3 weeks before we leave. Wow. I'm not prepared, but we have had time. So that's the other thing. With us, you know, getting back into things and doing stuff, we have so much work to do at home that we are just, and we haven't even dealt with everything we need to get done. There's much, much more that needs to be done. We have our, we definitely have to deal with some plumbing issues, which is not terrible right now, but I don't want to wait till it does get to be terrible. We actually found a leak, a pinhole leak in one of the leads into the house from the main, and we need to fix that ASAP. And I did a patch. There's a technique that you can use, which I bought the thing and worked perfectly fine. Because we were leaving. It was actually before we were going to BGG Spring. And so we're like, darn it, we're not going to be able to get anybody over here over the weekend. And so we fixed it, because it was on a Friday that we saw it, and I think we left on a Monday. We fixed it and it worked, but I am nervous about it. And you know, once that happens, it's probably since the house was built that line was put in, or sometime around that time, because it's actually, the reason why it's an issue is it's not really the part that leads into the house, but it sort of does, because they tapped into it for a hose bib, you know, a hose connection. And we don't use that one that much, so we might just take it out, but it still has to be all dealt with. And there's corrosion, because it's galvanized pipe. And it's, you know, I used to work in construction. I was a design person, and you know, everybody's like, oh, you need to use copper pipes. Well, copper pipes are great, but they also have the same problem and develop, I think it's just lots of water going through at higher pressures, and it develops pinholes. And I imagine, I don't really know, because I never was involved in anything that long on a project, to see what, I wonder if, I mean, you don't want to use PVC on that, but I wonder if PVC is a little better at not doing that. But anyway, so need to deal with that. Hey, Christian HD, how you doing? Which gold color do I like best? Okay, so, well, my favorite gold, although not necessarily my favorite gold to paint. My favorite gold is still Retributor gold. That is the Games Workshop one. They took all of their paint in-house a while back, and I'm not certain what that effect is. The other one that I really, really like is Rich Gold from Pro Acryl. And it's a really great color. It's very similar. Let me see if I can find the, it should be right here. The gold. So oh, that's right, I'm looking for the wrong bottle size. I decanted it into a, goodness gracious, where did I put that? Polished gold's pretty great too. Another one from the Vallejo Air, but I have a bottle somewhere of decanted Retributor Armor. When I was contemplating doing that, which I will never do because it's just too much effort. Where did I put it? Anyway, it's a great color. Oh, it's right here. So yeah, Retributor Armor, this is an older one. Do I have an agitator in there? I mean, they don't look the same, you know. This one's just an amazing color. I don't know, it's really, I used to love the Citadel golds back in the day when they were made in France. And I have no idea what company did those. I kept looking to see, because I really, really liked their metallic. It went on, in my usage, relatively thin, and it had great coverage. All their metallics. I love their mithril. I have their mithril. Did I decant that one? I did. So this is one of the old ones, the mithril. Still there, not a lot of it left. And then I have an even older one, the dwarf bronze. Still liquidy if you have the right kind of bottle. Although my favorite was Tin Bits, as far as not as a gold, but as a metallic Tin Bits, which is now, what is that one called? Something, it isn't that, Balthazar Gold, it's something. Oh, it's this one here, Warplock Bronze is very similar to, at least what I remember Tin Bits being, who knows. But yeah, I don't love these pots. They're okay. They're nice when you're doing contrast paints because you often pull, wow, look at that, it is not sealed. That could be bad. It's still wet. Boy, that's terrible, man, these things. They just, I don't love the seal on these things. It's amazing that it didn't get ruined because, I mean, I've had so many paints just dry out. The old bottles that, like that Mithril Silver was in, those are really terrible. You know what? I am not going to do this like this because I will have a spill and I will be sad. Now, this paint comes out much slower, but using these things, and I find these hard to get from GW. They should always have these in stock, these little mounts. Let me just pull that paint out of there so it can seal. That's probably why it's not sealed. Get to see my scary technique here. Try not to pull too hard, but boy, I've had some serious messes. Now this color is available, so that's not so terrible, but I've bought so many bottles. I've actually, I would say, with Citadel paints, other than the contrast paints, the paints have dried in the bottle faster than I've used them up, unless it was something I was using a ton of it. And that's a frustrating thing to me. Let's see. Look at that, much better seal. Still kind of high up on that end. What is going on? Let me see here. Is there something else caught here? Shouldn't be. I wonder if it's, oh, you know what? That just popped off. Let's see if I can fix that. So there's like a little catch. I wonder why that got pulled out of there. Man, I'm getting paint all over my fingers. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I shouldn't be doing. But I guess you can see how it works. Some of the craziness. See, this is not pulling out of there. I wonder if I did something. That is probably the reason why it's not closing. It's a weird thing they do on these. Really, this is going to be a problem. Wow, how did that get under there? I think I just need some real pliers. So I'm just going to close this as best I can. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So that's why that paint dried up like that. I don't flip those further out. I've seen some great 3D printed stands that hold the paint bottle, the lid open, so you can do your work. Like paint surgery, certainly. But yeah, I think Citadel paints are fine. They need to be, right? They need to be so that people, I mean, I like them. I bought these colors recently, and I really like them. But they just have some serious, I just do not. So here you can see, the bottle has this little bit poking out here. That's the stay to keep it from flipping over. Let me just see if, wow, I think I only made it worse. I need some needle nose pliers. I don't have any right here. Let me see if this will pull it out. This could be a problem. No, that'll do it. Yipes. These are the old, look at that paint flying. These are some very old, probably 20-year-old side cutters from Games Workshop. Boy, I'll tell you though, it doesn't seem to want to go down. Maybe I pulled that out just trying to get it open. I mean, to clean that out. It shouldn't be though. Let me just wipe the edge. Funny, this is what I get for looking at these things. They're jinxed. I noticed, so Peachy, who used to work at GW, was one of their painters on their YouTube videos. He was pretty good. He has a new channel, and he's now using, I mean, he's sponsored, but he's using Army Painter, and I have not purchased any of the brand new acrylics, which I would like to try. And I will. Maybe they'll be at, I don't think they're at Gen Con though. Maybe they will be this year. Adam Smasher works for them now. He has for like a year now almost. He might have some influence on that. I hope they do have a booth. Because of the GameNight, I now have replaced my online game hobby to game boards. Always was a fan of boards, but your show gave me back the itch and started a new board game collection. Awesome, Christian. I hope we haven't made you go too crazy. That is our issue. That's really what we've been, last night I was scrunched up in the little library there going through games because we're trying to, number one, better place games on the shelf. Number two, pull games. My problem is I would like to keep them all. We just don't have the room. So what we've been doing is sending games to the BGG library for our charity sale. We just had one. We sent a bunch just before, although I don't know that, I think some of them might have made it into the sale, but generally they take some time to think about what they're going to put in the sale. And it's for a charity in Dallas area that actually is now more national in the United States. They are having a thing that they do with the NFL to help at-risk youths learn new careers, learn a career to stay out of drugs and gangs. And it's an awesome organization. And so we send the games for that, and we sell them. You know, the spring sale has that plus let's see what else do we have in there. Well, they mostly go for like $15 a game is what we sell them for. No, $10 a game. We had talked about going a little higher because this last time in May we had the sale, and there were so many fantastic games that we felt we might want to like change the price, but we ended up not doing that. So we send games for that, and some of the games for the library. Sometimes we get games at the library, you know, for the show that the library does not get. So particularly in 2020 when we did, we live streamed basically all the cons. We did. We didn't do Origins because that one didn't happen, but the BGG, we did like a test one that was just a kind of an online con thingy that was just us streaming, and then we did BGG Spring Con, I believe. I know we did, and then we did. I think I need more of this paint. We did Comic-Con, and when they were doing their online con thing, and we did Gen Con, and we did BGG, we did Spiel, and we did BGG Con, and so we had it was called Virtual Con. So we had a lot of games. We probably had more games than most people from like Spiel, because they were being sent to us, and so we sent almost everything back to the library from that, because we needed them. We really needed them in the library, and so sometimes the games will go to the library. We often, again, we're not looking to do the newest games necessarily on the show. More speed paint medium. You went crazy? That's great. Well, I'm glad you're having fun. Board games are awesome. I got into pinball. I've always been into pinball, but like I went through phases, of course, because it wasn't really any place to play. But we went to when we go to Niagara Falls, we go to a arcade. It's a billiards and arcade place in Buffalo, and we played. This was 5 years ago. We played the Munsters, which was a new machine at the time, and we were smitten. And so I decided we'd try to buy one, and we did get that, and it is really a fun machine. But we also really got into the hobby. It's an expensive hobby, I will tell you. Do not tread lightly going in there, because it's crazy, but it's really fun. We met one of the designers, one of the engineers, the software engineers, is a board game designer. We met him at Texas Pinball Festival last year, and he actually designed a published game from Tasty Minstrel and Pegasus. I think it was because he won an award for that, like a Hippo Dice Award for something. But anyway, the games have now become more intricate with their rules and stuff like that, and it's actually pretty exciting. And so we've had fun. So we went to dinner on Sunday, and there's a nearby. We're really lucky. There's a Korean barbecue that has a lot of pinball. We used to go to the other location that was across the valley once in a great while. We still don't go that often to this one. We have now been like 3 times this year. But they have an app that they use now called Insider Connected. So this is Stern. Stern's like the major manufacturer, but not the only manufacturer, which wasn't the case that long ago. The pinball really almost died. Was on life support, and in the box so they can watch it to play it. Are you talking about for Sweetie? Are you talking about for the? We actually do have the link to the page. So if you see there, it says Marvel United. When you click through on that, it takes you in the Nightbot. This is on Twitch, folks. It takes you to the. When we donate games. That's a good idea. Well, we actually did one. So when Deborah first came on the show, they do a charitable raising funds for, gosh, I can't pronounce it, but her husband has this condition, and he is progressively going blinder and blinder. It's really kind of scary. And so we did, when she was on, we did Wingspan and the children's games. We did Wingspan with her, and we had the new Wingspan bits, Geek Up bits. They were the prototypes, and we let her do the charitable auction for that, which was awesome. And we all signed. We asked the winner if they wanted us to sign it. We also did that for. We gave away some stuff on our streams during. Maybe those are New Year's, because we kind of streamed a little bit. We actually started streaming before the pandemic more regularly. We were trying to stream every 2 weeks, and we did with Deborah and Dave a thing called the Wilson Wolf Affair, which we felt comfortable spoiling because you cannot buy that game. And that was one thing that we did it on there, because we were really particular about it. We were trying not to feature games that you couldn't buy. And so we gave out, we started doing those streams, and then we gave away more stuff and things like that during the pandemic. And New Year's, we actually do, I don't know if it was last year, but maybe 2 years ago, we did a very large giveaway, some big box stuff from publishers that Nikki used to work with. We did like the giant Takanoko? Yeah, that's right. Is that right? Yeah, Takanoko, not Tokaido. And that was awesome. And I think we might have given away another big version of that kind of stuff. Not Takanoko, but maybe Meeple Circus, maybe? Those were awesome. Yeah, the Brothers Murph walked out of the charity sale with like 10 games. You could buy 5 at a time, and there were so many fantastic games in there. It was really, really awesome. It's a great charity too. We raised $15,000, and now that charity sale takes place at the board game convention, so there's plenty. So maybe we don't need to link to the videos, but and not all the games we get to. We get way more games than we can actually feature on the show. We did 58 episodes this last year, partly because of the SDJs. We always do several. Now this year will be a much lower number of games, probably for total episodes, because we had already done all 3 of the Kenner nominations. That's Guild of Merchant Explorers, boy, my brain, Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West, and Daybreak. Is that right? Daybreak? It's called E-Mission in Germany, and they're all great. But we did those all either this year or 2 years ago in the case of Guild of Merchant Explorers, because that just came into being published in Germany recently. And I really don't know what's going to win on that one. Those are all 3 really great games. I really don't know. I think this is actually a really great year. I don't know all the kids' games yet. We haven't played them all. We will be played this weekend. I think we're going to... I want a blue-green. Burnt Moss. His pants look kind of green, but this may be too green. Mummified Grime. That's not it. Oculus Cloak. Occultist Cloak Oculist. Wow, there are some greens, but I really kind of want a blue-green. Prismatic Bolt. I have these organized in the scale that they have there. I don't know if they're so great. It's 100%, Christian. He's saying that there's something about, well, I'm saying they, I should say they. There's something special about boards, the pieces, the artwork, even handling the box itself as like having a book in your hand, if it makes sense. But the best about it is the family and friends reunion. 100%. We love, so we played lots of video games. So actually our game night, our real game night, started when Nikki was just getting out of college. And a friend of mine who, when I was like 12, used to play with his neighbors, and he moved into our area. And where I live now is quite a bit distance from it. We were in Southern California, but from where I went to school when I was a kid. And I used to play with his neighbors. He and I would go over there on Friday nights, and I guarantee those guys were younger than I am now. But we'd play games with them, and it was awesome. And then my brother and Vince got into a band, and so that kind of, all that stuff. High school took priority. I was in the band for a little bit, but I was not doing so well in school, so I stopped being in the band. When he moved in the area, he said, "Hey, you want to do game night again?" And Nikki was excited, like, cause she she never really got to play a lot of games when she was young. Her parents would buy her games, but they wouldn't play with her, and you know, you kind of need adults to get you started on it when you're younger. Anyway, so she, this is Tyrian Navy, let me remember that, in case I need more. I'm gonna need more, I should put some more in there. So we started playing, and we played for about 4, 5, 6 months or something like that, and then we got into LAN gaming. The friends that we were playing with board games got us into LAN gaming, and that became like the thing for 2 or 3 years, and so we didn't really play games. And then we got back to games when we discovered Catan. Now, I had one of the stores that was in Pasadena, the guy tried to sell me that game back in the 90s, 98, 99. And I was like, yeah, you know, I think it was a $30 game at the time. And I balked at that price. Had I wonder if we would have had the same reaction. But boy, when we played it, one of our friends brought the game over, and we flipped out and played it twice that night. And then I immediately got online and started reading and looking it up. And that's when I found BGG. This was 2002. And is that right? Probably. Maybe it, I don't think it was 2003. It was definitely 2002. And that started down that path, and we've gone crazy. But really, I love board games because I love the in-person element of it. And we used to play LAN gaming, so they were here, and it was fine. But board games is awesome, and that's why, I mean, we do some play online board games, but I don't love it as much, and sometimes it goes very fast. I mean, that's why Dave, he plays with a friend who doesn't live in the area often. He always has. Like when I met him, he was using Brettspiel Welt and taught me how to use it. But and you know, you have to kind of maintain that one. I don't remember what happened, but it stopped working for me. But and then I tried to play with Annie, our friend in Germany, during the pandemic, and it was we couldn't get it to work through the web interface. There's a Java app that I didn't want to have to get her involved in, and I didn't want to deal with. Do you have Monument Hobbies Jade? Ooh, that sounds good. TCAT 2, I'm gonna have to check that one out, because I absolutely, well, the two colors I love and I don't have really great versions of is that a good emerald color, jade color, and the pink. So I have Warp Lock Bronze. Is this it here? I don't think so. No, that's Leech Purple. So these old ones. So yeah, this is the last bit of my Warp Lock Bronze. I love this color. There's got to be somebody out there that's making a replica of this, but GW does not make it anymore. I used it for one of my, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used it too. It was my friend Sebastian's. I used it for one of the cars for Gaslands, and I was using his old Warp Lock and Warp Lock Purple. Did I say bronze? I'm thinking bronze, so maybe I did. Anyway, great colors. I wish I could find them. I actually bought Pro Acro. One of the first colors I bought was their pinky purple, in the hopes that it would be similar, and it is not, which is fine, but I'm really looking for a good one. There are some manufacturers that are doing the old colors, sort of, but that one's not necessarily old enough. I mean, I'm not certain, you know, I got really back into the painting miniatures hobby in early 2000, 2001, and we went to my grandfather's funeral. I came home, and the friends that got us into, that joined us to do the board games, local friends, then got into, while we were away, they got back into Warhammer, which that was their thing when they were younger. And I'm like, oh, there's no way, that's too crazy and expensive and whatever. And I jumped in, you know, of course, after seeing the quality of the minis back then, and they're amazing now, I was all in. And so I'm trying to be good and not buy too much. I just recently bought, I mentioned this on the stream, I just recently bought something, a Necromunda Escher Cutters just because the minis look fantastic, and I'd like to play the game, and I have it, the newer version. But that's not quite green enough, huh? Oh, okay, wow. Is that in the new line? It must be. I hope so. I know that their colors are, you know, they have, ooh, I didn't finish this. I mean, the stuff looks great. I would love to buy that whole set, but number one, I don't have enough space. Hey, thanks for the follow, Baldian. That whole set is like $750, which isn't terrible, but it's a lot of paint, and I really don't need them all. My problem is I like sets because it just solves the problem. It was like, I get a bunch of them, and then I can just buy the ones that this is a very strong color, and it's gonna mess up that yellow. And you know, I ended up pulling the trigger on the speed paints because they were not terribly expensive. I think I was able to get a pretty decent price. I'm trying to paint a small amount of stuff here, more controlled stuff, and I need less paint on the brush. Let me use another brush. But I would love to get those to try it. But here's the deal, I haven't tried any of them. I actually didn't even try any of the speed paints other than that one when I bought this set. I only bought it recently, and I tried these paints out in October. And I really don't have the room. There is a set of the new paints. They give you a little stand, which the video I was watching, the guy was complaining about the stand. It looks an awful lot like these stands. And I think that was like the mega set maybe or something. So it's not too many paints. I might buy that set, I don't know. Gosh darn it, I keep getting it on the shirt. One thing I actually do, which I'm not doing today, and this isn't critical, right? It's not like I spent a lot of time on it, but I will put the varnish on to protect it between coats. If I'm doing something I spend a lot of time on, this is not that. Or that I just know I'm gonna make a mess. For example, I was doing pinstriping on Kingpin, on his pants, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to have to try to, because you know, I'm trying to get them relatively accurate, you know, straight lines and everything. And so I put some varnish on before I painted that so that I could easily just wipe it up if I made a mistake. Here's Kingpin right here, and you can see his pinstripes. They're not the greatest pinstripes ever, but you know, I was nervous about them. So I just put that varnish on, and I was able to do a reasonably good job. Yeah, I definitely, we just don't have, I can't remember. So there's one hobby store, and I haven't been there since Christmas time, that's sort of nearby, that carries more than just Citadel. That's my biggest problem, is most everything just carries Citadel. And there's, most of the time I just need Citadel too, which is fine. But they carry Citadel plus something else, and I thought it was Vallejo. Now, on retrospect, maybe not. I need to go and check it out. We're never in the area when they're open. They're open from like noon, and we're always over there early shopping, like doing grocery shopping and stuff. So I need to go. It's not close, but it's not far. But I need to go and check them out and see what they have. They might have some of the new paints. But, you know, these have only just recently become available, the Army Painter. What do I call them? Fanatics? War Paint Fanatics. I do want to try them. And that was my thing. I actually wanted to try these, the Army Painter speed paints, but nobody had them. Although we did go to a store last year before I bought them, and they had them, but you know what? They didn't have the color I wanted, which I don't remember what I wanted. It was a red. Oh, that's what it was. It was a red, like slaughter red, something like that, maybe. And they didn't have it in stock, which it looked like a great color, and some friends were going to bring it for me when they were going to visit, but they ended up not being able to come. So I didn't get it then, and then I tried the phase 1 version of the version 1s of the paints, and I liked it enough that I was like, oh, I'll get some of these, because it's just helpful to have more colors. And that's only because I'm not always mixing colors. I often do. I'm not afraid of mixing colors. You definitely don't necessarily get reliable results when you are painting using these paints, particularly the speed paints. Actually, most model paints are not single pigment. They have other colors in them like gray and other stuff to help make them more opaque and coat better, which, you know, is good. That's what you're trying to make it easy for painters. But it's not so great if you are into mixing, because then you get things like brown very quickly when that's not even close to what you're going for. Trying to make, you know, like a purple or a, it depends on whatever you're trying to mix. A lot of stuff just ends up becoming brown. Once again on his shirt, gosh darn it. But, so when you're able to just go to the color, and if you're, since I'm painting multiple miniatures and I'm coming back and doing things, wow, that was too wet. I like to have the same color, know the color that I'm using so that I can just fix stuff, you know, go back and change stuff if I need to. Gosh. Okay, that's the blue on that one. Let's go to the other guy. I'm 50 and we used to play D&D back on a pool table after game night, put a blanket on the table and came back next weekend to continue the game. Would return 35 years ago. Okay. I used to play D&D back then too, and I had my neighbor friends, and I'll tell you, some of those memories, I still kind of remember actually doing the things we were doing. Obviously, we didn't do that. It was just our imaginations and stuff, which was awesome. And it was great. And, you know, I didn't realize how great I had it with a very capable DM who was kind enough to not let us get wiped out completely, but he would let us feel the sting, and we could get, if we were really careless, we could hurt ourselves. So he was just encouraging us to make good choices and stuff like that, but he was great. I would love to play with Deborah. She's talked about doing something like a special one-off or something, and maybe we will, but she actually wants to do a game that we've already played on the show. She thought we hadn't played it, but we're going to do the expansion, I think. But she's busy. I need to get a hold of her. We might have some time to film with her. She has gone to the last 2 Gen Cons, but I don't think she's going to go this year. Although I don't know. She actually was, the previous year, 2 years ago, she was our guest. She has family in Indianapolis and would go to visit. And so we're like, well, you know, so they flew there, but we got them a room and tickets and hung out with them, and it was great. Then last year she was invited to do RPG stuff, and she had a great time, but I think it was a lot more work than she'd hoped. We actually only got to hang out with her. We hung out with her for dinner and played some games. Then we were going to play, this was on Saturday, and then Sunday, the final day of the con, we were going to hang out. She wrote us very early and was freaking out because she's like, I'm not feeling good. I'm going to get checked. She was nervous. She had COVID, and she did not. She went to the doctor, and she just got some sort of I don't think it was strep. I don't know what it was, but we don't, you know, none of us, if all three of, well, most of the Game Night people have not gotten COVID. Rusty has never gotten it. Dave has never gotten it. Aaron's never got it. Nikki and I haven't gotten it. And so it was, you know, we're always concerned. We don't want to get anybody sick. Nikki and I are around our parents a lot. And so that we try not to expose ourselves too much. Although we've had some, you know, definite close calls where we thought for sure we'd have COVID. And, you know, ultimately, I don't think it's, I mean, I don't know. older folks for sure. Myself, I actually have, I'm diabetic, and so I'm immunocompromised, and so I'm nervous about it too. And you know, we'd love to not have to. Wearing masks is not fun, and we go to lots of conventions, so we're kind of concerned about that. Could avoid a lot of board games. COVID sold a lot of board games. That's 100% true. Any predictions? Well, Jason, I'm not predicting on the Kennerspiel winner. Jason, I'm sorry I missed that note. Our game store is great. They carry a whole wide variety of super have them. Yeah, no joke. Concrud. For the Kenner, I don't know. If I were to choose myself, I would probably pick Daybreak. I think that game is great. The problem is all three of those games are good. Now the only one we haven't really experienced is, I got hiccups. The only one we haven't experienced, didn't really experience all the way through is Ticket to Ride. We were asked by the publisher to only feature the first 3 levels, and so we did, and we talked about playing it more, and I really want to play it more to give it the chance. Not to say that I didn't think highly of it. I just don't know, and so I really wish we'd have time to do that before we make, because you know the discussion video is coming soon, so there's no way we're getting through all that. But I would just like to see what the game offers in the long run. So I'm definitely going to be speaking without true knowledge of that game. That's the problem with the legacy style games, which you know you want to give them the whole opportunity to really show you everything they got. And I know with only going to level 3, we didn't really see a lot. The problem is, of course, it just gets longer too, right? So for us to maybe get, it's Tuesday now, and to spoil things, we are planning on trying to do that discussion video this weekend. I'm amazed that as many people are available, having it be a long 4th of July weekend, but it is really the best opportunity to do it. And so I won't be able to really say. I mean, I would like to see what Ticket to Ride has to offer. I definitely loved Guild of Merchant Explorers. I think it's a great game. That's not really super deep, right? It changes every time you play it. But the one I really, really want to try to give more chance to is Ticket to Ride. And then I could maybe make a better guesstimate on like what I think the jury might pick. But I'll tell you this year, I think that I won't be able to... I mean, I've got a pretty good record in guessing what they might pick. I have no idea this time. I'm not sure on all of the games, because we have now played all of the SDJ. Nikki and I have played all the SDJ nominees. So that's, you know, that's, I don't know, it's different. The jury is different. When we first, well, you know, we didn't know the jury. We only met some of the jury members in the last 10 years, maybe 12 years. They have been coming, they used to come, well, they still will be. Next year they'll be there. They didn't make it this year, which is a bummer. That's also the other great thing about that. So when during spring, the jury will come, the games will have been nominated the weekend before the event. So they come and bring the games that we don't already have in the library. And you know, they basically make you can see what we have in the library, and they see like what we might not have in time before that's awarded. So they will, you know, they have actually lots of the copies of the game on hand to test it with people, especially after it's nominated. Because, you know, it's not just what they like, it's also like by observation what the audience is interested in. And so they would bring those games, and then we could play all 9 of the nominated games at once. Some of them, like there was I guess when Pandemic Legacy maybe was that nominated actually. think it was, because we did it on the show specifically for that. We played they made a non-destructive version that we put together for that one in a very big rush, because again, the nominees are announced on Monday. They were announced on that Monday, and the con would start on Friday. It now starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, so it now starts on Thursday. But the jury couldn't come this year because they didn't announce the games till later, and that was because some of the jury members could not be at the nomination meeting that they put together. And so it's a sad deal because it's really wonderful. So I don't have the exposure to the games that I generally like to have. Let's try to touch that up. But yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. I actually think this is a great year of nominees. I know some of our friends do not care for, I think what has happened for a lot of folks is they've evolved. That's too dark. Whoa, did that just come off? Was there something stuck on there? I guess so. Wow, okay. Wow, there's a couple things stuck on here. I wonder if that was from the airbrushing. Well, cool. Didn't actually have to put paint on. But yeah, Nikki used to get con credit all the time. And then we got, I don't even remember why I thought that would be a good idea, but a coworker of mine had a little desktop humidifier. It's a travel humidifier that you just would put a standard bottle of water on it, like, your 12-ounce bottle or whatever, 16-ounce bottle of water, and you could run it at night. And so I thought, hey, that'd be great, because my feeling was Nikki was getting too hoarse from talking, and then it'd be a mess for her by the time we were done. And we got that, and she literally, so let's say we went to 12 cons, got sick like once or twice. So, whereas she would get sick every time. So thankfully that worked. Some nominees would have won another. Okay, are you guys gonna play Brink? What's Brink, Christian? I feel like it was really a weak Kinder year, unfortunately. Some other years definitely have better fields than others. Some nominees would have won in other years, and got unlucky with a bit better of a game the same year. Of course, Jason, that's 100% the problem. And I haven't played all the Kinder games this year. I played, literally I've actually only played one. So we plan on playing the rest of those here soon. But I don't know. I know that, so Christoph, who's been on our show, and actually he was in the video. It didn't come out that way. We shot a video of Guild of Merchant Explorers with him and Steph from the jury when they came after Gen Con 2022 to LA. And it was unfortunate, that didn't work out. We had, truthfully, what happened was GameGenic was sponsoring us, and we did not, it was Christoph's copy of the game, and we didn't sleeve it. And that is part of what we're supposed to do for that, and which we're 100% fine with that. We just didn't do it. And so we didn't get to use that one. We actually filmed that game 3 times because we shot it again with 2 others and had a technical, a gameplay problem. Kind of like you have to pay attention to how, what you're putting, when you're completing things that you pay yourself, you get your points. And because so much is happening simultaneously in that game. And 2 of the players felt like they didn't get their points, and which is fine. I'm not happy about that because I don't want them to not get their points. But it's difficult for the person, because really kind of the person that's teaching the game is ultimately the one that is responsible for keeping an eye on all that stuff, and it's hard. It's hard, Dave, whenever something happens, and like Dave's teaching, he really gets upset. Same with Aaron, that they're bothered by it, Nikki too. And it's like, you can only do so much. It's very hard. And play the game. So, part of the issue is I think the teacher generally has to sacrifice their game for the benefit of the others to understand what they're doing. When we did Path of Civilization with Mike, he was very, very aware of all that and did a really good job of keeping an eye on making sure we were doing that we were playing correctly and getting what we should get and all that, and giving us advice. It was great, but that's hard to do. And Nikki tries, we've had some games recently that she has tried really hard to try to keep up on it, and it's just, I think Harmonies was one where she was trying really hard to make sure everybody got what they needed to do and stuff, and still tried to play well. I think she won that game. So there you go. You can win. I'm pretty sure she won that. Or maybe it was Brian. No, that was another game, I think. So yeah, it's challenging. Brink is worker placement, trading and hidden voting game that brings the world of Moonrakers. Oh, okay. Yeah, the negotiation is going to be the challenge. I have no problem with that. One of my favorite negotiation games is Chinatown. There's a new version of it called Waterfall Park, maybe. Some people just don't like negotiation games. And I don't know. So, I don't know, it's a challenge. But maybe we definitely have a lot of stuff we want to cover. What color is wristbands? Blues, the blue of the pants, probably. Boo. Yeah, I don't think I've heard about Brink, and we've not played Moonrakers. I can't remember who published that. That was kind of cool. But it's hard for us to play all the games that we even want to play. Part of it is, we get recommended stuff, because Nikki and I just don't see all the games. We just can't. And so after the cons, we usually have some friends, and Scott will walk through it as the games are being packed to return to the warehouse, and pick games that we would like to feature. And we don't even, we take many, many more than we actually are going to even possibly get to. And it's kind of a bummer. I would love to do more, and we constantly talking about how we can cover more games. We're kind of maxed out on, doing this other game night, people were writing today, like, is this a mistake on the day? Like, no, it's a news show. We're going to try to do two-player games. We don't have enough focus on that, and there's lots of two-player games. There's many games we have in the queue that we want to do. And so we'll try to do those. During the pandemic, we actually just played games 2 players, so not everything was a 2-player game. This is where we will specifically try to focus on 2-player games. And occasionally maybe play something that plays more, but as 2. And there's some games I think that are definitely better with fewer players. Obviously, Arkham Horror, the card LCG, living card game, is that what that is? Yes. We had wanted to do more of that one since we shot that episode all those years ago, but the issue is just we can't. It's complicated. It's actually a long film almost every time. Because, if you give us in a game where you can discuss what to do, we'll discuss the heck out of that. And I understand they want to win the game. That's the whole point. It shouldn't just be haphazard. We played, I kind of think I was leading us down the wrong path. We did the same game recently, which I really loved. Had no idea about the game. And it's Wolfgang Warsch, who I really love his designs. And I realized after we were done, I was thinking about it that evening, and I'm like, I kind of was pushing, because to me it's like, let's get through the obvious things and then let's get down to the real ones. But the problem is some of those obvious things I might have been wrong about, like me thinking it's obvious isn't necessarily so. But what I find frustrating with those games is folks tend to really discuss the heck out of it and then start to make the wrong decision. You know what I mean? But that's only from the perspective of the person. Wow, this is really going to be splotchy. From the person who actually knows the answer, which is, you know, always crazy, drives you crazy. But man, that game's fun. We had played it at a con in April, and we're like, wow, how did we not really hear about this? Eric might have done something about it. Eric Martin, he does it. Wow, this is really splotchy. Oh well. Maybe it needs to be darker. I mean, I've done Nick Fury's bald. Done several bald characters, I think. Woof. Wow, it's starting to gel, so I have to stop touching it. That is one of the things about this paint, right? If you are, gosh, I really should have tried the other one. I don't know if there's a good flesh tone on the Army Painter. There probably is, but I really love this paint, and it is not going on smooth. Well, I'm just going to count on, since I'm hoping that the intensity, ooh, there's something on there. Hope the intensity will, you know, the multiple coats will solve that. Gosh. Wow, that's terrible. Commenting how great this paint is. It is great. I think it's my application choices here. Wow. Well, let's hope. Game night takes a while. So Christian's asking how long it takes for setup, and you know, the teaching. You know, somebody has to learn the game. You know, I prefer that we don't. The bulk of the players don't know the game, and we have taught games where only the person teaching knows the game but hasn't played the game, which is challenging. Those chaos back pulls, yeah, those are terrible. Oh my gosh, they were so bad. But we pulled correctly. We pulled as we needed when it came to the end, which was awesome. Wow, so this one's definitely lighter. I'm just gonna bump up the darkness a bit on this one. But it takes, so it really depends. The worst one we've ever done that took forever was Arc Nova. And that was not, really what it was is we filmed, so Aaron was concerned, right? He didn't want to mess it up. And we had Scott helping us. He was watching the stream remotely. And Aaron, you know, Scott had not played it for a little while, so that was part of the problem with that. But I think Aaron had played it, but I think he also hadn't played it for a little while. Played it at the con, and then we did it a while later, once it was available more widely. And we get to the end of the game, and Aaron realizes we did something wrong, and something massive. So we actually had that game, that was like 10 hours that day, because there's a lot of talk. Before we started, we actually did a dry run of the teach, so Aaron could feel comfortable with it. And then I think we played one round of the game, and then we started over and played the game, and then realized there's a problem. I think he realized it that day. He did, because before he left, I was like, don't worry about it. We can do this again. We'll just do it again soon. And so then we came back. He had time. Aaron does not have a ton of time, even then, which he's way more busy now, because this was a year and a half ago, I think. We shot it again and figured out something was wrong about halfway through the game. I don't remember what it was. And so we started again, and it ended up being another 7 hours that day to actually just shoot that. So that was a terrible edit. Now, it wasn't, we often will, if we have something like that that's an issue, we will reuse like the teach if the teach was fine. But that one we didn't, I don't remember why we didn't, because I think the teach was actually mostly okay. But I think what the deal was is Aaron felt he could do a smoother job of it. So we shot it again, got it done, and then that took, I told Derek to just not focus entirely on editing that one, because I know how those kinds, it's probably 6 or 7 hours worth of footage. Probably not quite that much, maybe 5.5, because again, we shot it again. We might have kept the teach on that one, so that is a challenge too. But anyway, so then that was edited, and we try not to overly edit anything. You want people to see what we're doing, so that the questions that we have will answer those questions of the audience. If we're having a question with it, the audience is probably wondering what's up with that too. But things like when we're doing a deep research, like something comes up, because we're all pretty experienced players, and we sometimes realize something is not making sense. And so sometimes that even means that we will reach out to the publisher or the designer if we have access. And we've done that a couple of times. Recently we had a question on a game that we filmed, and we contacted the designer who we know. And I was like, please, I was like, thank you for answering. And he's like, no. And he was, the issue was something that others had, and I think had been fixed in the release at some point. I don't know. But we also had an issue with a question, and I think we got it right. But we contacted the designer, who I actually I've only met at cons, and we have, I think we're Facebook friends, so I was able to contact them there. And it was a holiday we were filming on, crazy. And so it was really awesome that he responded. I don't know, it's a challenge. So it could be, I would bet most episodes at least are 6 hours, not counting the learning of the game. It's 5 to 6 hours. Overall, there's some games we play very quickly. Sometimes we don't really have a lot of questions and it just flows. But like we did a game that should have only been like 40 minutes or something like that, an hour. And it took us a little over 2 hours to film because of questions, and they're teaching the rules from memory. They're not referring to the rule book, so there's no scripting. Nikki sometimes takes notes, Aaron takes notes, Dave generally does not. And so they're doing it, they're reconstructing it from in their head to often improve on the teach from the rule book. Sometimes the rule books are not real consistent, and it's hard. Sorry, I'm really not on camera, I don't think here. Yeah, we don't like the rule book on camera. It's weird. We've kind of like made it hard on ourselves. But I think the rule book only adds to confusion, and I just feel like let's look that up and then just take that out if we have to. But most of the time, the teacher knows the game pretty well. And I got to say, that's pretty impressive, because I'm just not that good. I can teach games, but I don't I kind of need to play it once to really have it in my head, like how it works. Wow, this is just way too thick. Yeah, we do have good teachers. Hey, go for it, painting. We really have some great teachers. Rusty's fantastic. Dave is amazing. I mean, I've told the story before, but when I first played a game with Dave, I was like, oh my gosh, I want this guy to teach me forever because he's so good. He really is a good teacher. And they're all harder on themselves than they should be. Because, you know, they're doing it from a strange position that not many people do. You know, I know for a fact that most people teaching games write a script, and rightly so. Like, they restructure the rule book in the most, what they feel is the most clear form. And it's a challenge. But Dave is, you know, well, he's an actor, number one. So he's good at remembering things. You know, he has a recall skill that's just amazing. And you know, that was the thing that really, I mean, he'll look up stuff in the rule book, but he's pretty certain, like, he has it figured out. Wow, this is going to look terrible. Or maybe I'll just make it really dark. I did get a notification that the new Marvel United is coming. And it's coming from close by, too. It's not shipped yet. It says it was shipped, but they just have shipping labels. But man, it's going to be a lot. And it was over $400 and some. I can't believe it. I know the new one is it's coming on 8 days from now, next week. What if that means it's Tuesday? I think they said it was the 10th. And it's going to be in the evening, like 3 o'clock Eastern or something like that. For DC United. I hope it's good. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't going to back it, and I keep saying that on all of these. I'm not going to back it, and then I end up backing it. Each of after the first one, I said, oh, I'm not going to get the whole thing, and then I ended up getting the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm not on camera here. I moved things around. I think I got it wrong. Oof, splotchy. And as I've said, I see the seam, even though I cleaned it. It's still there. It's really hard. The t-shirt looks pretty good, though. I don't know. Again, I'm using 2 different paint lines here. Dave is really something else when it comes. This is Attack Mac. Dave is really something else when it comes to explaining games. It's such a delight to listen to, even if I'm not interested in the game. I'll tell you, one of the things I think that's great about him is he teaches you how to teach a game, I think. He is really a solid teacher. He just amazing. Aaron is very detail-oriented. He can do the deeper stuff that Dave doesn't necessarily have the interest in, but Dave can teach deep games. He has done some games that just shocked me because it's like, I just was like, you want to do that one? Because it's just a lot. He does not, you'd be amazed how few times he looks at the rule book. Most of the time, it's if he had to do something quickly. But he's very good, and he is good about trying to play the game if we know that we're going to do it and he has time. His biggest challenge, of course, is lately it's just family. You know, his mom, her health is not 100%, and so he has been up north way. I'm sorry, I'm not in the camera angle. I wonder if this is in a different position. It just doesn't seem right. Got spider webs up here too. Cobwebs, just a few little stringy things. But yeah, I wish I had that skill. You know, Nikki is trying to get better at it, and it's hard. She's doing a good job, I think. She did a great job on. So she actually did habitats, and then did a how to play video. We have a BGG how to play video that they wanted, and she did a great job on that too. I think she does a good job. She's, you know, she's getting it. It's harder for her for sure, and she hasn't taught games that much. Drain that water. So I have like a little reservoir here, rinse well from. Boy, do I never remember the name of this company. Rinse well from Masterson. There we go. It's great. Looks like a cat bowl, but it's really cool. You got a little plunger. So it's the first one I've seen now. Smaller ones. This one's big. Smaller ones are probably a little bit better. It's got a little tiny reservoir. This is, let me show you a little bit here. It's great, but it is just messy. So you invert a bottle, and then you have this button here that you push and it drains down, and you can, it's got like the ridges in here to help clean your brush. It's fantastic. I like it when I'm doing lots of brush cleaning. I have another a Citadel pot that has little ridges and stuff too. It's great. I use this one mostly as a source of clear water that doesn't have paint in it. Oh wow, thank you so much, Attack Mac. Attack Mac's saying, to be honest, I've never seen a teach on your channel by anyone that was anything but great. Well, you're being kind. There are definitely a few that are not wonderful, but and that's fine. I don't sweat it so much. We do want to try to get it correct, and it is a bummer but you know, everybody's doing this because they love doing it. Basically, I'm one of the only ones who really gets paid because I work for Board Game Geek. You know, so Scott wanted me to work for him, and I wanted to work for him, but I had a job that I was doing for a company here in Southern California, and I just wanted to wait till there was a good time for me to leave, and that I would be able to contribute to making, you know, help BGG make money. I don't know that I'm completely there yet. It's hard. We are doing our how to play videos and our in focus videos, and we contract, you know, the Brothers Murph to do those, and Candace works for us and she's doing some. And so it would be great if we were there, but I just, you know, it's true. I mean, Deborah just comes because she loves, she's a fan of the show. And she taught that, you know, another actress and, you know, actor, she taught a few things now, but she taught Catacombs, Clank Catacombs. And we did get something wrong on that one, unfortunately. But it isn't a big deal. I think mostly we were hurting ourselves in that game. But she did a great job. Like, that's her first, she's like, she felt confident. She's like, she loves Clank, and so she wanted to give it a shot, and she did a great job. And it's really exciting to me when we see people evolve in that manner, you know. I honestly feel, I don't know what the situation was at Geek and Sundry, but I really think they should have had her take that over when Will was done. I don't know what the situation was. Did they get to a 4th season on Tabletop? If they didn't, it's a bummer, but I think they did. And that's too bad. I really actually like Tabletop. Scott wanted us to do a how to play video, a playthrough. He loves watching, I don't know if he does it as much anymore, but he used to watch playthroughs of video games. and he thought it would be fun to do this. He knew our group. We have a pretty decent community here nearby, and I should paint that blue. Tyrian blue, navy. It's dried up here though. And I just couldn't understand why anybody would want to watch, you know, a video like that. And so when Tabletop debuted, I think in like April or something like that, or March of 2012, he was disappointed. He likes the show, but he wanted it to be more of just the gameplay, less of, you know, they're doing entertainment. I totally understand what was going on there. And so we told him that we were going to some event that summer. I think it was KublaCon. And we decided that we would try to do game nights. So we started filming them in September. And that part of that is we have, when we were doing the live stream from conventions, we had a lot of gear that just sat. So I thought, well, that'd be an opportunity to use the gear. We can try to do the show he wants. And it worked out. I mean, it's not for everybody, and it's challenging, you know. It's some people are like, I don't get this. I'm like, well, I understand. Not everybody wants to watch people play a game. And you know, it doesn't have like the thrill that like video game playthroughs have and stuff like that, totally. But it's fun, and what was great for us is that it just, number one, encouraged people to try to have a game group. Our game group is, you know, literally, well, the real lucky thing for us is we met Dave through Board Game Geek. I had my profile on, and that's not too far into me using the site. The guy that ran the gaming group that he was involved in had seen that I was, you know, you can use and see gamers near you based on like zip code. And he saw that I was on there. I had a lot of games. I was reviewing them, and I only live, you know, like 4 or 5 miles from him. And he actually is a little bit further away than Dave. He actually lives on the same, basically on the same street as Dave. And so they invited me, and I asked if Nikki could go too. She couldn't go that first week, and they were a little nervous about that, which is crazy because Nikki's the real serious gamer. She just loves playing games. But yeah, she was at school. Oh no, what was the deal? I don't think she was teaching anymore. Or no, she was teaching, but I don't know if she was teaching that night. But yeah, we met Dave. That first night I met Dave there, and I was just blown away. I'm like, Nikki, you got to come. He's great. And they were real nice people. We met so many nice people there. But that basically started us on this path. You know, we are friends with Scott from Board Game Geek because of Dave. We went to, so they did the first BGG Con in 2005, and we thought about it. And my thought was, let them get this figured out. You know, I mean, it's always hard on a new event. And so we planned on going the next year. And then Dave ended up being asked to do the puzzle hunt for that convention, because he had done it for other cons that Scott has been to. And we met Scott, and he was a great guy. And it just started us down that path. We all, you know, it's a great place to meet people that are, you know, it unites a lot of different people. Thanks so much for the follow. I missed the name there, darn it. Let me look, see if I can see it. Yeah, you know, you have the opportunity to meet some wonderful people. Wow. I just refreshed that page. That's not good. Thanks so much for the follows. Wow, I don't know what's going on there. I guess. Oh, wow. Thanks for the subscription. There we go. Thanks so much for the subscription, Wabang. Oh, and Wabang also followed. And Hoopzilla, thank you guys for following and subscribing. Thanks, Wolf. Wabang511, there we go. He's starting to look a little smoother. It's still very splotchy. I'll do my best. I'll keep building it up. It's fine if he gets darker. His skin is very kind of medium tones, so it's okay. Hope you guys are doing well. It's kind of splotchy there. See, so there's some coffee staining that's a little unfortunate. I had too much paint settled in there. And you can, I've been able to cover that. So I had on these cloaks that I was on these minis over here that I'd done, and I had some coffee stain, and I was able to smooth it out just by blending it in with the darker tone of the paint. Because as I say, I mostly thin most of the stuff down a little bit, and then hope with this successive coats I might get to the intensity that I kind of inch up on it, as opposed to just going full bore. And not being happy with the results. I mean, many times I've like, oh, well, that's too dark, and that's just life, but this looks like Terry Crews. I don't remember who played the character on the TV show. I'm sure I've seen pictures of him. I'm glad they're all on Disney Plus. I need to watch them and just see. We did enjoy, I think we've seen most of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, the more recent stuff. Try to beef it up a little bit. I don't know. It's out of focus. I'm doing a terrible job. New spot. I need to figure out what I have done here to my desk. So I moved this one mat underneath over more so that it would be like in line with what should be centered, but I guess I wasn't doing that. I had this set up in here for more than a year. Not doing a good job, but I'll do my best. And maybe just get used to this setting, because I think that's all it really is. The setup. He's looking pretty good, but it's still splotchy. Goodness gracious. We'll see what I can do here. Now let's paint his shoes. We'll use a dark color for that. I'll use Basilicanum Gray. Let's just use the bad Basilicanum Gray. Week before game night, I checked the videos about the rules, and to be sure I can remember them, even if I know the game. I hate having checked the rulebook. That's awesome, Christian. It's hard to do, though. Hey, Roland Reggie, thanks. Yeah, I'm working on 2 Luke Cages today. We'll see how these come out. My goal is to try to do them similarly, but the undercoat is slightly different, but they don't look too bad. Oops, I'm showing you stuff and you can't see. See, this is not in the right spot. It's too close to me. I think the camera got moved. I need to fix that, but not right now. So that's probably what the deal is. Let me just do it. Yipes. It's now crooked. That's a little better. Still, I feel like it's been more like up here, but what do I know? Anyway, so yeah, I've been trying to do 2 at the same time. It's one of those kind of weird challenges that I like to do. I was telling how I painted some miniatures. Not miniatures, excuse me, paintings when I was studying art and design. And I was doing 2 paintings. I thought, I'm going to try to do 2 paintings and basically make them almost identical. And boy, oh boy, did I learn that is hard to do. So as you can see, they're not too terribly different. It's mostly the undercoating that's letting me down as far as accuracy between the 2 of them, but it's fine. And and some of these are painted. Now these are all, the ones I'm showing right now are all painted at the same time. Some of these I painted them at different times, but these are the same time. So yeah, they're different, but ultimately they're both pretty good, you know. I have to varnish these. I actually finished the bases. So I'm still working on Blade. I want to do some more on his glasses. So I need to do that. But he's cool. Definitely it's good to prepare. When I teach a game, I prefer not to teach from the rulebook as well. I also I'm not a huge fan of the reading from the rulebook thing, but I get it. Sometimes you have to do that. You're just getting the game and you're having an opportunity to play it together. And so somebody's trying to learn it. When I do that, I try to just read it first and then talk to the people about it. And, you know, have the rule book as reference and stuff because I don't know it. But I just feel it's better to absorb it and explain it than try to teach the game from the rule book. But that's just me. I don't actually have the opportunity to teach as much as others. I would love to. Every time I threaten to do one, like Nikki will take it over, somebody else will take it over. So I don't know. I don't know what that says, but because I was going to do something recently, I'm like, well, I'll teach that one, and it's hard for me to do it in the position where I'm in a specific position on the table, and I generally do not move because I'm running all the tech when we film, and I have earbuds in the whole time to hear if there's any audio problems as we're recording, because we've had failures of audio spoil an episode, so we just kind of like sacrifice that. So I've taught some of the kids games and not necessarily a very good job. I'm excitable and I definitely have a hard time focusing on keeping my eye on the target, but I do like to teach. And I should absolutely do what you're saying. Even just in real life, we had played Harmonies, and we were at BGG Con, and we wanted some others. And so Nikki was doing something, and she would have been ideal to teach the game, but I can't remember what was going on. So I was teaching the game, but I was realizing I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, and that's not good. You want to try to. I'm very tangential, so like. It will be a serious problem if I don't focus on that. So I think it might be, some folks have already probably left to, I think I have the R&R show, Rado's show, already streaming. So on BoardGameGeek.com live, BoardGameGeek.com/live, we have the schedule of all the streamers, not all the streamers that give me their schedule. It's a problem, obviously, because there's only so many slots in every day, and if they are at another like an established person, so we've had like Adam Smasher on here for years. He helped us during I asked him to do some streaming during the cons, online cons in 2020, and he did some great streams. As a matter of fact, he's the reason why I'm painting these minis in this manner. I hadn't started painting them, and he did the Hulk and maybe Iron Man. I cannot remember. I just remember the Hulk. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how to do these things. And so I've basically been following that method since. But yeah, if you go to BoardGameGeek.com/live, you can see all that. And so I schedule in Rado's show because they start at like noon. So they've been going already for 30-some minutes. And I generally don't interrupt game night. I let the regular gameplay streams go till 1 o'clock. They're East Coast, West Coast as well. So for my streams, it's not that important. So the Twitch audience, if you're not watching us directly through Twitch and you're watching on the live page or the front pages of BGG, it'll automatically switch you over at 12:30. I should actually program it in to let everybody know that's happening, but it's fine. What I'm doing is not super compelling, but I love doing it, and it's encouraging me to keep doing it, and hopefully encouraging others to paint their minis. I think it's actually a really fantastically fun hobby, and it's really nice to have games on the table that are painted. Let me put this other one in here, and we'll finish them off. It's not going to be finished, but it's getting closer. I generally do the face first. I feel the rest of the stuff is easier, and it has worked out to be that way. But wow, his eyes. It's looking at. It's a good shot. I wonder if I can. I'll have to try. I don't know if I'll do that on stream. I was driving people crazy doing Jessica Jones. Her eyes are intense. I'm not really satisfied with them, but I'm also not going to kill myself. I was trying to do an eyeliner and things like that, and it's pretty good. Really, what I could. I'm going to keep looking at it, and I really shouldn't worry about it. You need to you don't need to go crazy on painting this stuff. It's not that. Most people aren't even. They're just going to be happy that there's painted minis. I was going to do his boots, silicone gray, his shoes. Let's see, but yeah, I have almost every miniature, if not all of them, from all the campaigns. I did back everything. I don't feel they've done anything that I wouldn't have, but it's certainly possible I missed some. I don't think they generally do. I'm doing the belt. I generally don't think they do my head's in the shot. See, this camera's not in the right spot. I don't even know what I was talking about. I sure hope we can have Rusty over this weekend. I have not heard from him. It's definitely possible that the camera got bumped. We were working on the library, the games. There's a bunch of games right next to me. And this is connected. It's not to that rack, but it's close and it could have got bumped. We definitely were moving lots of stuff around. Really trying to get room. There's just so many games. And we really can't keep them all. There's just no reason. Thanks so much for the support. Let's see if it shows up for me. Oh, Book of Nerds. Rated. They're rated. Awesome. Thanks for the raid. We're trying to paint Luke Cage today. He's, oops, a little complicated here for me. Okay. Cut his belt there. Not 100%. Need to do a little bit more on there. Hope you're doing well. What were you guys doing over on Book of Nerds? Ooh, Luke Cage. Thanks so much, Book of Nerds. Trying to get him done. The head is really distressing me. The scalp, I will get it figured out. You like James Brazil? I like painting minis, but I haven't done it in a bit. Well, it's fun, and it's especially if you've got, I mean, I have so many mini games, lots of GW stuff, but I'm trying to get through the goal was I was trying to have all of these done, the first wave of these done before I received the third wave of Marvel United. And really, I wanted it before well, I knew that wasn't going to happen. I wanted it before the Kickstarter, or actually it's on GameFound this time, for DC United. But goodness, it's rough. I will say Marvel United is lots of characters fighting in rubble. It's kind of a bummer. I don't know, it's like tons of, don't know that all of them, what is, well, she's got rubble too on the base. I do like the grates and stuff like that, they're fun. There was one that had a stoplight on it, it was awesome. I think that Moreland one was on like a building. Let's see here. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's some sort of a crypt, or I don't know. Moreland. I almost have one box failed fully of my Marvel United, but it is such a fun game. I agree. Yeah, the DC version's the 10th is when they're gonna, we are unboxing some board game. We were, okay. Word Traveler, yeah, we played that one, it's great. We're gonna try to do it on the show. And then Agueda, which we have, but we haven't opened yet. And then Stellar Leap, I don't know that one. Hope that's good. Fully painted, yeah, I figured what you meant. I have done, I've done a lot. I have almost all of, so I've volunteered to paint a friend's minis as well because of my crazy person challenge of trying to do them similarly. And I figured since I'm painting them, I might as well just do them. But I was already well underway when I started doing theirs. And I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like I need to get them done. And I don't know, a lot. There's a lot. I actually need to come out here more often, and it's tough. We have lots of projects, constant, home and work, and it's a challenge to keep up on all of it. Oof, my ear. Why did I take that off the base? It's on the base, another base, holder. We have the Kinderspiel games. We actually don't know how to play the, although I think Brian might have already played it. The Wolfgang Warsch Big and Small Gems. We did play one of them already, and it's pretty great. But we have Tashi going to be involved, but I would prefer, what I really want is for her to play one of the games. Because, she's going to be in the discussion with the rest of the folks now. Last year she graduated. And doesn't mean she has to play all those games, but I do want her to play. I'm hoping she'll play some. She's played 2 of them. What was the one that I was concerned about? She did Sky Team already. What was oh, Captain Flip. She hasn't played that one yet. And she hasn't. Neither Brian nor her have played In the Footsteps of Darwin. We've played that one. It's pretty good. These are some beefy belt loops. And because of the gray, the undercoating, these look very dark. There's not going to be a lot of contrast between the pants and the dark belt. Almost should be painting it a brown, just so that you would see it. I'll probably paint metallic on the belt. I was trying not to do any metallics on these miniatures, and I just gave up. Oh, we were talking about gold. You know, I don't know if they're on stream anymore, but I also tried out, I liked the metallics from the Speed Paint line. This glittering loot is actually pretty good. It's definitely different than a standard metallic, but it works pretty well. And that's something that Games Workshop has not done. They have not done a, I didn't do his shoes yet. They have not done a any metallics yet for their contrast paints. And you know, maybe they don't feel it's necessary. They're different and they're pretty good though, I'll say, on these speed paints. That's actually after that orange, the Fire Giant Orange, that was the first paints I tried of these when I bought it. Very cool. I kind of feel like doing the faces first is important. I don't know why. I've done this a couple times now here, and just jumped in on to do the shirt and stuff like that. It is interesting, James. It's the colors are these. There's the glittering loot, golden armor, so they have several golds. This bronze, horde bronze looks kind of gold to me. Talos bronze. And I think they sell a metallic set. Polished silver. Broadsword silver. That is the one I will tell you. They don't have a bright enough silver, in my opinion. Brazen copper. Why is that out? I put it in the order of their stuff, so I don't know. Hoplite gold. Wow, that's weird. I feel like there's something wrong with that. But maybe they're in shade order. Enchanted steel. This is the one that's most interesting to me. Aztec gold. It's a greenish colored one. It looks really cool. So I want to try them, more of them as we get to them. But yeah, this one you'd think would be really bright, but it's not. I need to give it a shot. But again, it's designed to go over a coat of well, it's meant to go over white. We do the zenithal highlighting thing. And maybe I should try that on a white and see what they look like. Vincent Venturella did a video. Actually, his video was one of the reasons why I basically kind of went ahead and got this stuff, because the gold, the metallics look pretty neat. He's very particular about his metallics and has a recipe for gold that is seems pretty awesome. I don't think I've ever tried to do it, but he had a good response to them. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get these because I don't have enough metallics. I do have the entire, I think, the entire Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl metallic range, most of them anyway. And I would like to try to get more of them. I think they're, you know, the other brand I actually really like, but I don't think they have a lot of gold, is the Vallejo metal color, airbrush colors. These are pretty great. This is silver. You'd think this would be bright. It's pretty good. It's funny, I don't know. I think I miss Mithril silver. To me, that was the brightest silver, and maybe, I don't know what it's called anymore on GWs. I don't even remember if I used them, because I painted like my Stormcast Eternals with the gold, the Retributor gold. And here's that splotchiness I was talking about. It was a little more pronounced, and I blended it in so that they, really, this matte finish is maybe too much. But fabrics should be matte, more matte, unless it's got like some sort of silk or something like that, might be shinier. Anyway, so yeah, I was blending it out, so it's not so bad, and I'm hoping to do the same. The problem is I don't have folds like that. Luke Cage's got a pretty smooth head here, so let's put a little bit more of the Gilliman flesh and thin it out. Maybe, well, I'll thin it out, but it's not going to be quite as thin. I do wish these were in dropper bottles. I'll tell you, when I use the other brands with the dropper bottles, it's great. When you're doing this, where you're putting it in this little fidget popper palette, it's great. With this, I end up using, so I bought these brushes and they had, for whatever reason, I think these were in here. Let me see if they're kind of the same length with the, oh yeah, they're kind of to protect the bristles, I think. And it was just a big batch of brushes that I bought, and I like them. I think they work for me pretty well. Technical medium, Zenithal. Yeah, I like the Zenithal highlighting. I think it really does a great job. And that was the deal. So I watched Adam Smasher's videos for the BGG Con streams. I think he did Gen Con and maybe even Comic Con with us. And he was painting them like that. I'm like, oh, that's how you do these. And it completely makes sense. I just didn't, I hadn't done that stuff. I mostly, as I said, I painted over it using it as a guide to highlight the, to determine how to shade the paint. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. So yeah, it was a good idea. I mean, it's really great. He uses it a lot for all kinds of stuff. I have not done that much. I've done the Warhammer Age of Sigmar minis, and these, I think I airbrushed them too. Yeah, I did. These Hearthkin, what are they called? Leagues of Votan, which are basically the space dwarves. I was intrigued with those. I would like to do more of those figures, but I just don't know. I really shouldn't be buying anything. It's smoothing out a bit here. his palette. You can't have that palette in the shot. It definitely, whatever reason, it's bright and it's not moving, so it focuses on that. So I have the Starcadia Quest minis as well. Scott, they had, I think he bought like a couple sets of that when they kickstarted it, and they were getting rid of it. He's like, "Do you want them?" The library was like, "We don't, you know, they're not going to use them," and I was like, "Sure," you know. I didn't initially. I'm like, "No," but then I looked at them like, "Okay, it's more chibi style stuff." The other ones I would have really liked to have done was Arcadia Quest. Scott actually had I don't know if he ever really got all of that. He had a problem with the fulfillment on that one. I don't know what the deal was. He backs a lot of games, so he is more likely to run into that than most. He doesn't back as much as he used to, but he still tries to get, you know, the problem is, of course, if you want the most interesting things, you kind of need to back a lot of them, because you don't really know until it's completed how great it's going to be, and then good luck getting it after the fact. Out of focus. He's very shiny. Doesn't quite look right on the, well, I'm looking at I have a confidence monitor here. Color is not quite there. Matching doesn't mean it's not necessarily accurate. This one's a little better. It's getting smoother. I'm not 100% sold on it. Okay, let me do his arms on this one, and then I'm probably done for today. Let me see what time it is. Oh, it's 1 o'clock. I'm definitely going to be done here in a few minutes. Thanks for joining me today. And if you get a chance, definitely go check out our Game Night, Date Night live there. Or not live, Game Night, Date Night of Dracula versus Van Helsing. I really liked that game. It was neat. Cannot wait to get our copy, because we don't have it anymore. Thanks for the follow, Zerlegolas85. Thanks so much. I'm just wrapping it up here, though. If you're interested in the painting of the minis, we will be back streaming live next Tuesday with a game night. Be excited. I really wanted to do it today, but Nikki was busy. That looks cool. His head's still a little splotchy. This one seems to be a little bit better. I'm gonna let them dry completely. Oops, as I throw them around. Okay. Well, cool. Let me see what's going on with some of the others. Maybe we'll just raid Rado and Ruel. They are streaming right now. Now, when you go to, if you go, this is only for the Twitch folks, but when you go, they're usually in the stream, so they can't talk. They're recording like a specific episode that I think that will go on YouTube later. So, I don't know if you saw that, but I was pulling the paint out of the palette. It's really awesome. Once it's dry, it's just a little film that you peel right off, and you don't have to clean it a ton. So I just did that one. You can see a little bit of residue, and then there's this little bit here. It just comes right off. It's really nice. And it doesn't have to be the speed paints. I use it all the time for the speed paints, but regular paints work as well. I saw on Amazon a white one. This is off-white, and it's no problem, but I had a dark one. I gave it to Nick. I think they're great. Let me switch cameras. There we go. That's my problem. I think I just opened another piece of software. Oh well, yes I did. Let's kill that. We don't use this software anymore. Okay, let me go and see what we can raid here. Hopefully there's something. I use two computers for this. I've got a local one here. Okay, there we go. Let's go to Stream Manager. Am I on it? I'm not seeing the... Nope. Huh, Creator Dashboard. Let's go there. What is happening? What is happening? Usually I can see what's going on. Ugh. Let's go to Twitch. And then let's go Creator Dashboard. Come on, load that stuff. Something has happened here. Analytics. Well, I don't see the channels I can raid. Let's see about raiding. Boy, this is very strange. Did they change something? They couldn't have. It is the best part about Twitch. Oh, darn. Well, doesn't look like I can raid. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't know that. Let me see here. Content, analytics. This is very bizarro. That is odd. It used to say Creator Dashboard. Am I not on that? Ugh. Creator Dashboard. It's not showing that. There's some other analytics highlights. Let me go to Stream Manager one more time, just check. Nope. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to figure that out. And I'm on that. Oh, wait, let me go to the machine that's actually running this. That might actually do it. It's so funny. It's different here too. I'm logged on as Creator Dashboard. Maybe I'm not logged in as... I am logged in as BGG. I don't know. How bizarre. Yeah, this is different. It says I'm live. Hey, that's exciting. Let me go to Stream Manager and see if it's on here. There we go. I wonder what's going on the other display. Let's see. Hey, Amanda is streaming. It's Tuesday. You're already there. We're gonna stream. We're gonna go over there and raid them. They've got 44 viewers. She's on the front page already. Let's go do that. Oh, she's got Bonzinator too. Let me see here. Where's Ruel though? It's Tuesday. Why would Ruel's not be going? I mean, Rado and Ruel. Anyway, let's go raid them. Say hello to everybody. Amanda's going to be on a game night soon, maybe this week. You guys take care and have a great one. Have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Have a great 4th of July if you're here in the States. Let's get that going. If you want to join in, just click on through. There's not going to be a ton here. Hey, 13, 15. That's exciting. There's more than I thought. Thank you for being with us. I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Okay, everybody here on YouTube, thank you for joining me. Thanks for the chat. It was awesome. Have a great one. I will talk to you later. And if you have the 4th of July, enjoy it, or enjoy your week as it is, and have a great weekend. Take care, everybody. See you next week.